I should stop being. You know what? Here, come here, come over here. You know what? You're gonna sit next to me. You're gonna sit next to me. You come over here. Okay. I am just gonna, cause I feel stupid just talking to a camera. Okay.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, you're special. I should just stop being. I mean, I should just expect to be disappointed at this point. I mean, I wasn't expecting something amazing because it's J.J. Abrams and he already ruined Star Trek for me. But he has become the first man to ruin 2 huge sci-fi series. I've never been more glad that I did not stand in tents, you know, camping out in front of a movie theater. I mean, this thing makes... Well, no, it doesn't even make Episode 1 look good. But Episode 1 was good, except for Anakin. Like, the whole Darth Maul and the Naboo and all that. It was okay. It was yeah. Okay, this makes the second movie look good. It feels like a mediocre fan fiction. Not a bad fan fiction, but a mediocre fan fiction. With the whole... I mean, it's just... There's this huge why hanging over it all. I mean, never mind the fact that he went with the cheap, what could we make as a super powerful weapon? Let's make a Shotgun Deathstar that can destroy multiple planets at once and is a planet. But it why? Okay, see, what I don't understand is this movie has no context. No context. They don't even say a year. The Republic is mentioned, like, twice. I mean, I wasn't even sure if there was a Republic. And, as usual, J.J. Abrams comes over and takes a shit all over decades of other people's hard work. I mean, it's at this point just George Lucas come back because all is forgiven. Is this huge... what's now called Star Wars Legends, which to me is always still going to be canon. I was ready to let all of that amazing stuff slide. I mean, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. There's no Star Wars anything around our apartment.
Yes, there is. There's the Millennium Falcon on the TV.
Okay, so there's a Millennium Falcon on the TV, but it's like, it's a die-cast toy from the 90s that I've had since I was a kid. And there's more...
And it attacks our feet.
But that's the only thing. So I'm not talking as, oh, he ruined my fandom.
I'm sure
talking...
plenty of other people are, though.
Well, that's the thing. Where's the nerd rage? Where is the nerd rage?
That's what I'd like to know, because it's been out for a little while.
It's been out for long enough for the nerds to rage. I mean, I can't be the only nerd rage.
Unless they've been spending all their money on everything else because those movie tickets were $15.
Or that's cheap for a movie. If I still lived in California,
I know that.
It'd be
sometimes
$10.
they're freaking $30 for a movie ticket.
It'd be like $15 a ticket.
I wish you could get.
So okay, so back to Star Wars. Okay, so there's this Shotgun Deathstar, and it's owned by this First Order, which doesn't explain what it's an order of, why it's the First Order,
and they tell
what they're trying to do in the right. There's no context. There's no backstory. Just there's this First Order that is a wannabe galactic empire run by a bunch of Calvin Klein models. And why is anyone working for this empire-ish thing? I mean, when we meet...
It doesn't even seem to be an empire. It just seems to be like this offshoot faction that has this battle station, and they don't show anything else.
Right. They show nowhere else. They show no power base. They show no industry. They don't give any reason why anyone is following this First Order. When we meet, I don't even remember his name. I remember, like, one name. Rey, which is, like, that girl. The girl, because she was cool. And
apparently she understands the Force.
Which is another thing that just kind of complained. The movie is called The Force Awakens, and we're all expected to know what the Force is, but it mentions it like 3 times.
Whereas in any of the other movies it's mentioned
it's all over the place. So I don't even remember the characters' names in this movie. And so the stormtrooper guy who runs away because he's supposed to slaughter a village and he doesn't want to. He says that he was taken away from his parents at birth and raised to be a stormtrooper. And then
all of a sudden it pops in that he's a janitor.
So he's a stormtrooper janitor. So he's raised from birth to be a stormtrooper janitor. My mom!
Yeah, really.
So So they raise their army by indoctrinating young people. But other than that, you cannot just simply indoctrinate a huge empire of young kids. I mean, where are all of these kids? There must be planets out there devoid of children that for 20 years have just been devoid of children because no one running this empire is under 30. And no one running this empire is British either, which is why they can't do anything for shit when it comes to taking over the world. So all we know is that they take children away and they raise them to be stormtroopers. That needs money. That needs funding. That needs a belief system that would allow those people to justify
thing even come from? They didn't even show it being built.
They didn't even show. I think the idea is they hollowed out a planet, which would take lots of money. It would take contractors. It would take funding. I mean, holy crap! This is going to get to be a Randall size rant.
And then on the other, we
don't even know what it's called. It doesn't even have a name.
No, it doesn't.
It's just
its planet.
It's Battle Station First, or is a Battle Station Calvin Klein. So we got Shotgun Deathstar, Battle Station Calvin Klein there, that they were not told where it comes from or why it's there, other than it's supposed to destroy the Republic, which these people for some reason hate. Well, okay, so we get it. The Empire...
thing that I don't understand about it is the Death Star could move around. This thing kind of stayed in its own orbit.
Well, it would be hard to move a planet.
I know, but it's kind of stupid because you can only fire it so many times. If it runs on a sun, you're going to eventually deplete that sun's energy source, and then what are you going to fire?
So do they have a bunch of money and have a bunch of these things sitting around?
I mean, there's only so many places you can aim it at because it's only facing one direction.
I mean, true.
Or you'd have to wait for it to orbit around.
You have to wait for it to orbit around.
Really inefficient thing.
I mean, you'd have to. I mean, it's like, okay, Tuesday's here. We can almost destroy Yavin. Just 15 more hours. So
and maybe next month or next winter we'll be able to destroy whatever other.
Right. System. Exactly. So my guess, from what I've been able to figure out, is that there is this chaotic section of the galaxy that has no law or no order because it has people living on desert planets that, don't look like they even have electricity. So probably just this war-devastated part of the galaxy, which has given rise to this first order that somehow has all the money in the world and a belief system that justifies people giving their children to it. That isn't fear, because that only works for so long. There needs to be a previous justice system. So maybe it's this part of the galaxy that heavily believes in the dark side of the Force, because there's a lot of Star Wars mythos. There's cultures that heavily supported the dark side and cultures that heavily supported the light side. The original Sith, the Rakata, all those people. The Rakata were stupidly designed evil villains, by the way, if anyone has ever played Star Wars The Old Republic. Ooh, scary fish people with razor sharp teeth. So they
didn't even describe how that what's his name got Darth Vader's old mask.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was just left there in that burning pile of Endor. Like, yep, we're done with this asshole. So
they just left it there.
and just I don't know. I mean, that's not really...
That would have been difficult
that is the kind of thing that I can forgive in a film.
Yeah, I can forgive...
That kind of lapse
what about
in logic.
The nonsense behind them just finding the Millennium Falcon on some planet that apparently this junk dude has from...
Well, they explained it was stolen, but stolen... I mean, the same thing.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
ship gets around. The ship is the galaxy bicycle. So So there's this section of the galaxy that's in a bunch of chaos. A bunch of people are fighting for it. And the Galactic Republic, which, considering Harrison Ford was probably in his 30s in episode... Or not... Well, the character of Han Solo was probably in his 30s in episode 4. So by episode 6, I guess like probably a decade has passed. So it'd be in his 40s. And now the guy's like 70 or 80. So this new Republic has been around for at least 30 to 40 years. I mean, I guess I could buy if there's a lot of senatorial infighting and it's a really unstable democracy.
Maybe even longer than that, because you did see those shells of, like, the old, like, Sith ships, like, just sunken into that planet that were just, like, destroyed.
That is backstory that I learned from the internet, that was where... I mean, as well as Endor, that was where the Empire completely... met its final defeat and
so it kind of
was no more.
Okay.
That was its
so
military.
It's
that
a ship
was
graveyard.
That was the Galactic Empire's Waterloo. That was, even though it was, you know, it had its Death Star blown up, it still could have gone, but it lost its all on, what was that planet called? Jakku or something.
Yeah,
so that was its
like
final. So that's why there's all that wreckage there, and that's why those people are salvaging it. So there's at least thought put into that. And, so there's chaotic, and for whatever reason, if it's this really unstable democracy, I don't know, because we see, like, 5 seconds of what I'm not even sure is Coruscant, and if he pulls another fucking Vulcan exploding thing, I knew he was gonna do that! I fucking knew he was gonna do that! I really hope that's not Coruscant, because that's just dumb. I hope that was Taurus. I hope that was Tython. Tython would make sense, considering it's a huge...
they destroyed at least 8 different planets.
Right, and they named the system, and I'm not enough of a Star Wars nerd to go, oh yeah, Coruscant's in that system. I can't remember what it's named. I'm sure if I Google search it, I could find it. But,
it certainly looked like Coruscant.
Star Wars has a lot of those kind of city planets.
That's true.
Like, there's not just one. Like, it would have been smart if it was Tython. I could see that, because Tython, for the Republic, is this huge military, industrial city that produces most of its ships and trains a lot of its units. So I could see that. But we don't even know. We don't even know if it's Coruscant.
We don't know what planet or...
We don't even know if the Galactic... I mean, I'm just assuming that the Republic is gonna reestablish itself on Coruscant. I mean, everything's there. So we have these Calvin Klein Sith running this wannabe empire in this chaotic part of the galaxy that, for whatever reason, this weak democracy does not want to engage in total war in. So it's funding these rebels to go, and it's training these rebels to go and fight in their own territory of the galaxy that the Galactic Republic probably does not control. Which means it's probably not the Galactic Republic. It is probably just the Republic. So I guess we're supposed to assume in the movie that the Republic is now destroyed by the Shotgun Deathstar. Holy shit! They act like they didn't know this thing was there. What is espionage? What is? I mean, you think even if you're not directly engaged in this war on the Republic side with this wannabe empire, you would think that you would be infiltrating it, especially if you are funding the people who are fighting it. I mean, this really must be a really weak ass democracy. So
I mean, or somebody to at least know it was there, because
with the
instruments
spies.
they have, they should find energy signatures from this stupid thing.
But they prove they have spies there, because in the end, when they're blowing up this whatever the fuck it's battle station, base star.
Yeah.
It just, they have all these readouts. They somehow know that the thing is ready to fire. They know how much energy the sun has left. So they have spies. Now, for people who are going to say, oh, but they knew that in Episode 4, that's because the Death Star was in orbit around the planet that they were also in orbit in. They could look at it and do the math. This thing is assumably millions of miles away. And then the next thing is they pull the whole, we're going to destroy this with just a handful of jet fighters. So...
And grenade and little sticky
and
bombs.
little sticky grenades. So it... Now, the reason that they did that with the Death Star was because it was designed to withstand a full frontal assault, and they never would have thought these tiny little starships would have ever gotten through. And the only reason they did get through...
big farting wart of a whatever thing is to stabilize the whole machine, and right on the outside of it, with like just a couple of turrets around it, and they blew it up.
That part, yes. But the thing is, they didn't even need to.
And this was in the beginning of the movie that they found this out, almost in the beginning of the movie, and when they found out
because
that the
one
Death Star
stormtrooper defected.
Yeah, I know, but like in the other movies, they didn't figure out what the weakness of the Death Star was until the end.
Right? No, and there was a reason, because they had spies, because they had plans. So they have spies who somehow are there, able to read these instruments, who also kind of forgot to tell them that, hey, this thing exists. But now that you know, guys, we're totally going to let you know when it's going to shoot you.
Yeah, exactly.
So for no explanation, they just fly in like 15 X-Wings, and their stupid battle sequence is nowhere near as exciting as the one from Episode 4, because that carried on a while, and radio communication, you could see what was going on. Here, it's like they have some panorama shots of a bunch of ships flying around, and then what felt like just a bunch of cozy little shots of people in their little cockpits. And it doesn't say why. You know, in Episode 4 they went in because they knew that the Death Star's lasers weren't going to be able to shoot at these little starfighters. We have CGI. J.J. Abrams had the biggest budget ever, like unlimited, for this movie. He could have done the most spectacular space battle, huge, big cruiser ship thing. And no, he said, well, we'll just do a couple CGI panorama shots, and we'll have some people go in, you know, those little kiddie ride things, and bounce them around where they say a few words that mean nothing. Han Solo run around, they'll blow the thing up with a couple sticky grenades, and the whole thing was just... I hope to God that whatever Episode 8 has is not just this thing again. So... Han Solo's kid is now a Sith. That's the only credible thing. That's the only...
Do we even know if he survived? Because he was just laying there when the planet collapsed, so that kind of leaves it open-ended.
Right, at least they show Vader tumbling away into space, so you know that he's going to live. But so Han Solo's kid, you know, at the end, when they were starting the New Republic, you know... Han and Leia bippity boppity boo. They make a kid. Luke wants to go and restart the Jedi, and Han's kid gets seduced by someone, and ends up being like Anakin and just slaughters everyone, and Luke just goes into hiding, which is, I guess, thematic, because that's exactly what that's exactly what Yoda did, for the purpose of waiting until the cards played themselves out, to where they themselves had a card to play, therefore Luke. And now they have Rey as a card to play.
And what were we looking for Luke for anyway? Because we found him and then the movie ends. So it's
right,
like,
they don't even explain, like,
what is... do anything.
Why are they looking for Luke Skywalker?
He got one line in the whole thing, or maybe he didn't even say anything.
I don't think he said anything. Why are they looking for Luke? Why is finding Luke...
so important
to defeating this First Order that the Galactic Republic doesn't even deem necessary enough to even infiltrate?
And why does C-3PO have a red arm? Which never got replaced.
That never got explained. It's just, by the way... I don't know, I lost it.
Because he says he wants the other one back. I don't understand that.
I don't know. This whole thing.
It doesn't...
So the thing that bothers me most about this film is that there's nothing Star Wars about it. There's isolated little pockets. Ooh, look, aliens. Oh, look, it's that familiar cantina scene. Oh, look, I recognize that alien. I've never seen that one before. But it doesn't make you feel like they're in this cohesive galactic universe. It feels like now we're in Seattle, now we're in Alaska, now we're in I
think we only travel to like what 3 or 4 planets, not including
the
Death
Well,
thing.
they only do that. They do only go to a few planets in each movie.
Yeah, I know, but it felt like
somehow, and I'm not sure. I can't think of how the old movies really made me feel. Even 1, 2, and 3 made me feel this, but it felt like there was a civilization that actually talked to each other. In this movie, it feels like everyone's disjointed and there's no freaking idea what's going on anywhere. Which, if that's the whole point, that there's such disarray in the galaxy, which I guess makes sense, but even though 40 years is a long time after the Civil War for that to still be a problem, even if it is, because I mean the galaxy is a big place. If that's the thing, it wasn't pulled off right. It just was confusing. This whole movie's confusing. But it's the reason it is not Star Wars is there is no retelling of King Arthur, of Odysseus, of Faust, of this, of that. These characters are not mythic. They do not tell a story. There is no destiny. There is not a preconceived plan for their existence. The evil people are not misusing the power of God or gods or nature in a horrible way that needs to be answered by the warriors on the side of God or gods or nature to go and correct, to right the wrong. They're there, and the Force is mentioned like twice. And when Rey figures out that she's a Jedi, she does it in like 5 minutes with no explanation as to
how to use the power.
Like, even Harry Potter fucked up with a snake at the zoo. I mean, this girl never did anything, and then bippity boppity boo, she is a Jedi. And
then, like, the first thing she does is make that the stormtrooper release her from the
right, so
chair.
the first thing she does is actually probably pretty complicated. I guess the first thing that a Jedi probably learns when he's learning to be a Jedi is how to move stuff around. I figure mind changing is probably a pretty intermediate level Jedi skill. Like, it's towards the middle. It's something you don't just figure out on your own. Or if you do, you certainly don't do it within the first 5 minutes of figuring out, I have this power. So,
and then on top of it, what's his name's all worried. It's like, oh, the longer she's missing, the more power.
And threw it in there without really thinking about it. And he does not have the excuse of money. He had the biggest budget ever. He had Disney backing this thing up the wazoo. And he claims to be this enormous Star Wars fanboy. I did not see it. I did not see even a basic understanding. I mean, I have a pretty damn basic understanding of Star Wars. I read 2 Star Wars novels in middle school. I read that one graphic novel where there's a clone of the Emperor and Luke turns to the dark side for like. Sometimes I'll find myself, jumping from page to page on Wikipedia, and that's kind of it. And even I could tell. And there was no myth, there was no explanation. You're just left with a big goddamn why? Why? Why is anyone doing anything? I don't know. Please.
And then
Please, you know what I want? I want to go see the new Star Trek movie. I want to see how whatever his name is doing Star Trek now, because J.J. Abrams is doing Star Wars. I want to see what he does it. I mean, I think I would have preferred Wes Anderson to have made this Star Wars movie. I mean, could you imagine a Wes Anderson Star Wars? That would still be better. I mean, come back, George Lucas. All is forgiven. We don't care how many AT-ATs you put in the freaking background, and re-release your magical turd and get a buttload of money off of it again. We don't care. Just don't make us go through 2 more of these. This is dumb. This is dumb. All of what's now Star Wars Legends, all of the expanding universes, it's all crap now. And because this is the canon that, and I am so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. This was supposed to be some kid's first Star Wars movie, and he's not gonna any more than he's gonna remember Alpha and Omega growing up. It's such a disappointment, and there's no explanation for it, because it wasn't peddled as this big money-making thing. It was peddled as reviving Star Wars, and it didn't. It did not call. The only time that I felt spoken to in that movie was seeing Mark Hamill in actual Jedi robes. That is the only time I felt spoken to in this movie. And I'm just not gonna expect. I'm just gonna expect to be disappointed from now on. I mean, the only good thing I can see coming out of this is, now that it's owned by Disney, now a whole bunch of other people can make Star Wars movies, and maybe some will be spectacular. Maybe one of them who's going to direct one of the future movies will actually read Hero with 1,000 Faces before they put their fingers on the camera, and maybe we'll get one more good one. I mean, I know that they're making some kind of Boba Fett movie. I heard that a while ago. I might be wrong, but maybe there's someone somewhere out there, some only hope. You are our only hope, whoever you are. Save us from this. I'm done. I'm gonna go play the original KOTOR.